Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today we are going to be talking about separating the art from the artist and the moral dilemma that comes with, consuming media from presumably bad people, or at the very least, someone who has done bad things. Now, I talked about this a little bit in my video about stan culture, right? But people sometimes see the artist they like as sort of a reflection or an extension of themselves. And many times, we judge people based on what movies they like, what singers they listen to, what books they read. And, you can even come up with different archetypes of different people based on what type of media they consume, right? If I say that girl number one likes Taylor Swift and loves rom-coms and only reads Colleen Hoover, and then I say that girl number two likes to listen to Beach House and the Black Keys and only watches art house films and reads non-fiction feminist literature, you're maybe picturing two different people in your head, even though in theory they could look exactly the same. So if the media we consume becomes a part of us, or at least how people perceive us, what does it mean when the art we enjoy is coming from an individual or an entity that we don't align with morally? Is that a reflection of ourselves? Because morals and how people express them differs from individual to individual, there really is no concrete answer to this. It's very subjective, Some people's moral compass only points north or south. You're either good or bad, and that's it. Other people, it's like, this is kind of giving northwest, this is kind of giving southeast, it's not as definitive. I think that's something that should be taken into account when judging a person's moral character is the context in which what's that thing about the coconut tree? Whatever. The time period that they lived in, the context in which they existed. Societal norms are always constantly evolving and changing, and in the past, racism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, all of the phobias and isms were very, very commonplace, overt, and unchecked, right? So much so that it was heavily ingrained into society in a way that, despite all the progress we've made, we still see the ramifications of those things today. But with the progress we have made, what is and is not considered socially acceptable has changed a lot. Like 50, 80 years ago, there were things back then that were so commonplace that you would never do today, right? Because first of all, it would make you feel like a bad person. Also, you could lose your job, you could not go to college, get canceled on Twitter, all of the above. People used to say slurs in casual conversation and everyone else would just be like, so true. Back then, in many ways, if you were not a bigot, you were a fucking weirdo. They were like, wait, you don't hold any prejudice against any minority group? What's your deal? So when people talk about older artists being sexist or homophobic or racist, it's like, yeah, I'm sure they were. I am sure they were, as much of the population was, and still is. So when consuming media from a different time, I think most people are able to hold space for, I am able to enjoy this piece of art and also be cognizant of the fact that they were probably bigoted in some sort of way, right? Because that is just the context that they were living in. It doesn't make it right, but I feel that that is pretty objective. In fact, if a successful artist from a long, long time ago had the same morals and social stances as a young Gen Z person today, I kind of have a feeling that they wouldn't have been that successful.
The album is written. What? I had a spark of inspiration last night when I saw a stranger from across the dance floor at, the sock hop or whatever it is we went to back then, and, well, what can I say? It felt like love at first sight.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that you felt inspired, but aren't you married to your husband?
Let me read you some lyrics.
Okay.
Walk into the club and the bass is bumping. Saw her across the dance floor and my heart started thumping. Shorty's so bad I need to bust it wide open.
I beg your pardon, did you say her?
Well, yes, she absolutely took my heart asunder. I mean, I couldn't even breathe when I first saw her. It was like the beauty of her face was the key to a lock inside me that I didn't even know existed. And now all these emotions are pouring out, and oh God, don't even get me started on her rack.
Okay, I think you know this, but women should not be talking about other women this way, okay? Only men should be able to objectify women.
I don't think that's true. I objectify women all the time.
Whatever songs you wrote, you have to scrap it immediately, all right? These feelings that you are having are hellish and sinful, all right? In this day and age, the only feelings that a woman should be having are feelings of resentment and rage towards her husband.
Well, trust me, I have that too.
I think you need to leave.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, you heard me. Scram! Lesbian, scram!
What? A woman can't even write a sexually explicit song about another woman of a different race?
A different race?
All right, calm the fuss. Okay, what if they are non-binary but femme-presenting, polyamorous and ethnically ambiguous and demisexual?
What?
But how do people feel when the artist in question is still alive and actively making art and, you know, isn't living in a different socio-cultural landscape? Because if you're a bigot today, then it's just like, what the hell? You know, the excuse of, it was just a different time, can't save you. What was the different time? This morning? There are many people who don't feel morally able to support, especially financially support, certain artists who have done very problematic things. For example, you know, some people feel weird about engaging in Harry Potter related things because J.K. Rowling is a flaming transphobe. Some people have stopped listening to Kanye West's music because of his anti-Semitic remarks, saying slavery was a choice, his endorsements of Trump, and among other things, though it is significant to mention that he does have, you know, some mental health issues. Chris Brown has lost support because he is abusive. Lizzo has lost support because she was accused of making a, what's that called when you, fat shaming, and making a hostile work environment for her dancers. Maddie Healy has been under fire before and has lost some fans because of some racist comments and sort of just edgy jokes that I did not really land. And there are many, many more examples. But while these artist profits have suffered, they are still making a profit. And I'm kind of convinced that, honestly, no matter how problematic someone is, they will still have fans. So it seems like the amount of people who are able to separate the art from the artist is pretty high. There are plenty of artists who are highly controversial and have done a bad thing or even repeated multiple bad things and are still having, you know, a certain degree of success that maybe you wouldn't think they would have. And this is a big argument as to why people say that cancel culture is not real. Because all of those people that I just mentioned, they're still objectively successful. You know, let me get my notes. J.K. Rowling made over $10 million from Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Kanye West has nearly 70 million Spotify listeners, and Yeezy is still a relatively successful brand. Chris Brown still has over 50 million Spotify monthly listeners, as well as millions of views on YouTube. Lizzo still has 13 million monthly Spotify listeners in 1975, also has 13 million Spotify listeners, plenty of adoring fans, and were recently on a tour. So as much as people go back and forth about, can you separate the art from the artist? Should you separate the art from the artist? At the end of the day, I mean, you just have to do what you want to personally do because people are still gonna stream and watch. They really will. Once you have a solidified fan base, right, you can be essentially as controversial as you want, it seems, and you're still gonna have fans. Or honestly, you know, they don't even have to like you as an individual. They just have to like your music or your art so much that it doesn't really matter.
I'm telling you, it sounds too insincere.
Bro, I literally spent like 3 hours on that.
All you have written down is, okay, damn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, I'm keeping it short and sweet. The fuck?
Okay, well, I am suggesting that maybe you add a little bit more pizzazz, considering you sent things that I will not even speak of to a minor.
Bro, for the last time I told you, okay? I didn't know that she was 15. I thought that she was 17.
That's still illegal.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just such a huge fan of your music. I was wondering if I could get a picture.
Yeah, sure. Oh my god.
Oh, sorry. I meant with you.
Oh, fuck no.
That's totally fair.
Is this gonna mess up the promotions for Ugly Girls Get to the Back?
We are not naming your new single that.
I think it's a great name.
I think you need to get to the back.
Totally. Could you just sign something for me real quick?
Okay, why do you want his autograph? He's literally an asshole, okay? The only reason I'm still his manager is because he's blackmailing me.
It's true.
I mean, you know, once you get past the racist stuff and the transphobic stuff and the grooming a minor stuff, the songs are just like really fucking catchy. Speaking of degrees of separation. So this is falling a little bit more into cancel culture, so I guess I am going on a little bit of a tangent, but honestly, you know, the social landscape has that evolved to make cancel culture also has triggered conversations about separating the art from the artist. So maybe it's not too huge of a tangent. Art is, you know, sometimes things are a little bit more individualized, but a lot of the times many pieces of art is it's a very collective process. It takes a lot of people to make something. There is not just a moral accountability for the consumer to be cognizant of, you know, these bad artists, but also other artists who collaborate with other artists. For example, Katy Perry and Kim Petras have both received criticism for working with known abuser Dr. Luke.
Katy, is there a reason why you work with Dr. Luke?
Isn't your album about women empowerment? Why are you working with Dr. Luke?
Rina Sawayama. Rina Sawayama's fans were upset because she was collaborating with Paris Hilton. Chloe Bailey received backlash for making music with Chris Brown, and, you know, the list goes on and on and on. For these types of situations, I think the main things people take into account is obviously the degree of wrongdoing, right, by the problematic artist, and then also the presence of choice, right? Did you have to work with this person, or was this something that was out of your control? As far as I'm concerned, in the situations that I just listed prior, I would think there would be some degree of choice, right? But then again, I'm not in the music industry, so I really don't know. Speaking from the film industry, what I will say is sometimes you cannot help who you're cast with or who else is on set. You know, there have been times that I've worked with people and been on sets with people that I don't align with them politically, and, you know, they've said certain things where I'm kind of like, oh, you know, but I still have to work with them because it's kind of not my choice. You know, it's like any other workplace where I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have, you know, conservative coworkers or whatnot. For example, when the Rachel Zegler hate train was happening and people wanted to boycott the new Snow White, something that people were bringing up and holding against her was the fact that she starred alongside Ansel Elgort, a problematic actor who was in West Side Story. Then there were people demanding that Jenna Ortega speak explicitly about the situation with her co-star Percy Hines and to denounce him publicly, who he was on the show Wednesday with her. Or people boycott certain shows or movies because members of the cast or crew are problematic, you know, even if the other members of the ensemble did nothing wrong. It's kind of like, you know, when there's like a bad kid in class, but everybody gets punished. And let me be clear, okay, if you feel like you cannot morally support a piece of art because even one person did something that you just cannot, you know, it crossed your boundary. I'm putting up a boundary and you crossed it, that is completely fine. You know, I'm not saying, well, you should watch this show because I think that the gaffer and the makeup artist were really nice. There are shows that I stopped watching or will not watch in the future because I know that certain members of the cast are, quite frankly, I have evidence to believe that they are bad people, even though I know that other people in the cast and crew may be very good Samaritans, you know. So you do what you want, right? But I just want to point out that there are times where I think we need to make those degrees of separation between, you know, cast members or collaborators, whatever, because sometimes you truly cannot help who else is involved in a project with you. And some people might say, you know, well, if you're cast in a project and your co-star is problematic, then you should just pull out of the role. And it's like, I logically understand that, but in this industry, it is so, career-changing roles are so few and far between. You know what I mean? And obviously, you know, it does depend on the context, right? If I got offered a role, you know, for a movie directed by Woody Allen, starring alongside Louis C.K., paying tribute to Bill Cosby, and the soundtrack is made by Chris Brown, I might pass. But it is unfortunate that in this industry, especially for women, right, there's always gonna come a time where you have to choose between what is going to be good for your career and sticking with your morals. Because let's face it, right? The powerful people in the industry are probably so powerful because they likely have a lack of morals, right? Everyone says that Hollywood is a very moral-less place, and well, that might be some piping hot truth tea. And you know, something I've noticed is that a lot of the times men in the industry will do bad things, and then the women associated with the men will almost sometimes get more flack than the man. So yeah, when I see people being scrutinized for their coworkers behavior, who maybe they didn't even have any control over whether or not they were going to work with this person, I do feel for them. It would just be it would be a very unfortunate situation to be a part of a piece of art that you would otherwise be really proud of and would be great for your career in X, Y, and Z, but it's tainted by something that is out of your control.
We are so ecstatic that you are going to be playing the role of Juliet for our modern Gen Z rendition of Romeo and Juliet, okay? You know, Gen Zers are always saying, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, I'm gonna kill myself, but in this play they actually do it, so that's great. I'm even more ecstatic, trust me. Oh, stop. But what's on the agenda for today, you know, we just wanted to do a chemistry read with the other actor that we are considering for the role of Romeo, and—
Yo, what is up, you fucking cho-chuzzlers?
Hi.
Hi.
Quick question, are you bisexual?
No.
Thank God, I fucking hate bisexual women.
Oh, well.
All right, well, I'm glad that you're both here. I'm sorry, isn't this the guy who was going 85 in a school zone and got a DUI and just did a brand deal with Andrew Tate?
I can hear you, you know.
Yes, great. So you guys know of each other. That's amazing.
Yeah, great.
So let's get started and we'll do a quick read of page 5.
Yep, bet. I got it on my phone right here. All right. Why do men paint their nails? That shit is for girls, literally for females. Women need to shave because the clitoris is already hard enough to find. I can't wander through a forest to find a single acorn. Like, what? I don't believe in the female orgasm. Y'all are making that shit up. Okay? I think ugly people shouldn't breed. Oh, shit. Wait, I'm sorry, I'm reading from my notes app.
You got the part!
What?
This is going to be awesome, you guys, okay? Amazing crew, amazing cast. All right, this is going to be huge for both of your careers. So I hope you guys are excited.
Oh, I'm pumped. I'm about to cream my jeans.
I'm concerned.
So when we talk about separating the art from the artist, I feel like we usually only talk about it in regards to the artist being a bad person, but we enjoy their art. That's where most of the discourse is. However, there is a flip side to this where you love the artist so much that you can't admit when the art is shit. You know, I love this artist so much that I cannot separate them from their art, so therefore I will be, you know, just supporting whatever it is that they put out.
Hi, this is me editing the video. I just want to clarify something because I'm talking about, you know, how people aren't able to separate the art and the artist because they love the artist so much. And that is the case with like the problematic people too. But I'm specifically talking about artists who are not problematic, and there is no moral dilemma in, you know, supporting their art. It's simply that they are well liked and you like them so much that you still can't separate the art from the artist and you just like love whatever they put out. I just wanted to clarify that because I'm not sure that I made that super clear. So, yeah.
And listen, I will say, as a K-pop fan, sometimes I experience this, all right? Sometimes I love a group so much and then they put out a song that is just an amalgamation of noises that I never expected to hear, nor necessarily wanted to hear. But I love the group so much that I'll just keep listening to it and listening to it and listening to it and just, I guess, like trick myself that it's good. And defend it with my life, actually. And, you know, sometimes in fandom culture, I feel like there's a little bit of a competition of who is the most committed to the artist, right? Who loves that artist the most. You know, like, I like some Nicki Minaj songs, right? But I wouldn't call myself a Barb because that kind of seems like a title that you gotta put your blood, sweat, and tears into. So then this environment of sort of, you know, almost wanting to prove how big of a fan you are all the time. It's like you love everything and anything that they put out. And I guess that just kind of comes with the idolization of celebrities, right? You know, not being able to critique them in any way without it seeming blasphemous. And for some reason, I do feel like this is more applicable to musicians than actors. For some reason, I don't know if you guys also feel that way, but maybe it's because, you know, with actors, they are presenting themselves as somebody else, and there's a lot of reasons as to why a movie can be bad besides the acting. You know, the editing can be bad, the score can be bad, the directing, the writing, whatever. But with a singer/songwriter, it feels like a product that's coming more directly from the person themselves, assuming that, you know, they wrote the song. So maybe that's why fans of singers and musicians tend to be a little bit more defensive about it. Because with actors, you know, I feel like people are a little more cognizant. Like, they will still consume maybe all of the different media by their favorite actor, but they know that the movie sucks. You know, there's even like that joke that's like, me suffering through a 28% Rotten Tomatoes ass movie because this actor that I like is in it. But you know, it's just interesting to see how the idolization of celebrities and stan culture has given us, you know, a different view on cannot separate the art from the artist, but in the way of the artist is held in such a high regard by their fans that the fans will just eat up whatever it is they put out, no matter what.
Amanda Wayne just dropped her new single early.
Oh my god, shut up.
It's true. Shut the fuck up. I'm being so fucking serious right now.
Play it, play it.
Oh my god.
Little Wayne on the beats. You take my heart.
Woo!
I put that thing on his wang. What?
Thanks for listening.
Wow.
That was
An absolute masterpiece.
Are you serious?
Oh my god, it was making me feel emotions and feelings that I've never felt before. I was digging in my orifices and just it was pushing boundaries, it was experimental, it's different than anything she's ever done before.
Yeah. You know, I think it was a little too different. What?
Yeah, I just don't think it's very good.
Oh!
Okay, yeah, well, why didn't you just say that? What the hell is wrong with you? So what, now you're saying that you want Amanda to get into a terrible car accident and that you hate her and then you want her to tear her vocal cords out so that she can never make music again?
I didn't say that. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. And remember, art is one of the best reasons to be alive, right? Movies, TV, paintings, dance, theater, all of these things. Some are more solo endeavors, others are more collaborative processes. But, you know, if you feel like you cannot morally support something that is, you know, you have every right to also do that because the world is full of art. So you can, you know, find something else to be entertained by or moved by because there is plenty of it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time. Big fan of your music.
Amanda Wang, pushing boundaries, pushing it, making me feel emotions that I've never felt before, digging in my, and it is already hard enough to find. I can't wander through a forest to find a single acorn, what the fuck?